Again, it's a pleasure to come to you with another fine discussion of the things written in the Bible, things written concerning you, the people of Israel, the people that God is dealing with according to the promise and the covenant he made with them, the descendants of Abraham. So it's a pleasure to come to you again with this discussion. Today, I will be discussing an interesting topic as usual. And this discussion is titled, Our God, Yahuwah, will do whatever He said He will do, and whatever He chose to do regarding His sons, the sons of Israel. So He will do whatever He said He will do, and whatever He chooses to do regarding His sons of Israel, the people that He brought out of Egypt. So turn with me as we examine the scriptures, what is written as usual. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 11, there it is written, This is what Yahuwah says, the Holy One of Israel. Said the one who formed him, said, Will you question me about the things coming, and command me about my sons, the works of my hand? So Yahuwah is saying, who are you to question him about his sons? Who are you to command him about his sons, the works of his hand? Say, he is the Holy One of Israel. He is the one that formed Israel. Just like the clay has no right to question the potter, so no one has any right to question Yahuwah regarding what he's doing with his sons of Israel, the works of his hands. So whatever he decides to do with the people of Israel, it's his own decision, and nobody should question him. So, but the question is, what has he decided that he will do with the people of Israel, the people that he brought out from slavery in Egypt, the people that he delivered again and again, and yet they are still disobedient, the people that he sent into slavery again, this time by ship? What is he to do with his people that he has formed? Notice what he said he's going to do as we consider the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 10, let's read verse 3. Verse 3 says, So what will you do on the day of reckoning, when destruction comes from afar? Say, to whom will you flee for assistance? And where will you live? Where will you leave your wealth? So God is saying to the people that he brought out of Egypt, out of slavery, the people that he established, he's saying to them, where will you What will you do on the day of reckoning, when destruction comes from afar? Say, to whom will you flee for assistance? And where will you leave your wealth? So God is hinting that He's going to bring what? Destruction because of the disobedience of the people of Israel. And He's asking, where will you leave all your wealth when this destruction comes? When this day of reckoning comes? Today, the people that He is dealing with are still, many are still piling up wealth for themselves. And they never think of to seek for their God or to search out of who they are as a people. But they have turned their back against Yahuwah, and they are following the nations to acquire and to accumulate wealth. So, what will you do when the day of reckoning comes? When destruction comes from afar, because it's coming. Notice what is, as we continue to read, Isaiah chapter 18, chapter 10, verse 18 and 19. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 18 and 19. Notice what is written. Say, He will utterly do away with the glory of His forest and His orchard, and that it will be as when a sick man wastes away, and the rest of the trees of the forest will be so few that a boy could list them. So He will utterly do away with the glory of His forest, and His orchard. It will be as when a sick man wastes away. So the rest of the trees of the forest will be so few that a boy could list them or count them. So God is saying He's going to bring destruction upon His people. Yes, the people of Israel. It's going to be destruction upon them to the point that their glory will be gone. And it will be as when a man is sick and wastes away. So they will be as dead. They will be sick and then will be as dead, the people of Israel. So the remaining ones will be so few that a boy could count how many, a young boy could count how many remaining. So again, Yahuwah will do whatever He said He is going to do. And no one is to question Him, why is He putting to death all the people of Israel? It is because of their disobedience, because of Israel turning away their back to their God and have gone to serve and seek for the gods of other nations, instead of searching for their Creator, their Maker. The people of Israel are seeking the gods of other nations, the gods given to them by other nations. So Yahuwah will do whatever He said He will do. He has said that the day of reckoning is coming. And this is the day when He is going to do what? Bring destruction from afar. So who are you going to run to? And who are you going to leave your wealth that you are pursuing to? So He will carry out whatever decision He said He will carry out. Regarding His sons, the people of Israel that he is dealing with. So Isaiah chapter 10 verse 4, it reads, it says, nothing remains except to crush among the prisoners and to fall among the slain. In view of all this, his anger has not turned back, but his hands is still stretched out to strike. So yes, Yahuwah said he will return and visit the people of Israel for their error, and he will strike them. And he says that nothing except will remain except these tyrants of his people will all crush down among the prisoners, and they will all fall among the slain. But even at that, his anger is not yet over, because he is ready to strike some more. Yes, Israel, the people of Israel was struck when after the death of the Messiah in AD 33, the Romans came and destroyed Jerusalem. So Israel was struck, and many tyrants of Israel was captured among prisoners, and many were scattered among the nations as slaves. So, but even at that, the scripture said, God is still ready to strike the people of Israel some more, because his anger is not yet over. So again, Yahuwah will do whatever he said he will do regarding his people of Israel. For how long will he continue to punish the people of Israel for all their error? Well, we have discussed this in the past. The people of Israel will be punished for 2 days, according to Hosea chapter 6, verse 1 and 2. The people of Israel will be punished for 2 days and then raised up on the 3rd day. So the beginning of the strike is when the Romans came and invaded Jerusalem after the death of the Messiah. That is the beginning of the strike. So even at that, he said his hand is, his anger has not yet turned back, because that is just the beginning of the punishment on the people of Israel. So the people of Israel will be struck or be punished until Yahuwah has had enough of the punishment. He said he will strike Israel for 2 days, according to Hosea chapter 6, verse 1 and 2. And 2 days, we've learned, Peter explained to us that we should keep in mind that a day with Yahuwah is like 1,000 years. So for 2 days, it will be for 2,000 years. The Yahuwah will strike the people of Israel using the what? Using the king of Assyria, aka the invader that he will bring upon the nation of Israel to punish them, which is the Romans. So he brought the punishment, and that punishment is still going on till today, to show you that Yahuwah will do whatever he says he will do regarding his people of Israel. And Isaiah 45, he asks us the question, who are you to question him concerning his people, the big works of his hand, or what to do with them. If he chooses to put all of Israel to death, that's his own. Nobody should question him. So Yahuwah will do whatever he has said that he will do concerning his people of Israel. So the people of Israel he put into punishment until they bear punishment for their error, and then they will seek him. Let's look at that at the book of Hosea chapter 5 verse 15. Hosea chapter 5 verse 15. There is written, I will go away and return to my place until they bear the consequences of their error, of their guilt, and then they will seek my favor. When they are in distress, they will seek me. So God said he's going to struck Israel, bring the invaders to attack and punish Israel, and then he will go away until Israel bear punishment for their error. And for the error of Israel, they are going to serve 2,000 years punishment for breaking the covenant of Yahuwah. He said then, when they are in trouble, they will seek for him. So for almost 2,000 years, the people of Israel has been in trouble, being punished by the nations that God brought against them. The nations that came and put them into slavery. Remember in Amos chapter 9, Yahuwah said, wherever they run to, nobody will escape this punishment. If you like, run to Africa. If you like, run to Europe. No matter where the people of God run to, that this calamity will pursue them. So even when they hide in the sea, say from there he will command the serpents and they will bite them. If they run and hide in the sky, from there he will bring them down and pursue them with the sword. So even when they go into captivity, from there this sword will continue to pursue Israel. Yahuwah will do whatever he has said he will do. And he will carry out whatever he said he will carry out. So this calamity or this punishment has been following the people of Israel till today. So as Yahuwah stated that he will bring this punishment upon the people of Israel. Yes, the day of Yahuwah's vengeance came upon the nation of Israel. Let's look at it according in Luke chapter 21. The book of Luke chapter 21, verse 22. It said, because these are days for meting out justice, in order that all the things written may be fulfilled. So woe to the pregnant women and those nursing a baby in those days, for there will be great distress on the land and wrath against this people. And they will fall by the edge of the sword and be led captive into all the nations, and Jerusalem will be trampled on by the nations until the appointed time of the nations are fulfilled. So this day of reckoning came upon the nation of Israel, just as Yahuwah said he will do. Okay? Yes, he came after the Messiah was put to death as recorded. So this is the day of vengeance that was foretold long ago by Yahuwah that he will bring against his people. And no one should question him what he will do or what he should do with the works of his hand, with his sons. So he carried out what he said he will do. Till today, the people of Israel are scattered among the nations, bearing the consequences of their error, being humiliated, being brought low of all people. Yes, they lost their inheritance, and their land inheritance, they were all taken over by the nations. Jerusalem is being trampled by the nations until the people of Israel completes their punishment imposed on them among the nations. So Yahuwah will do whatever he says he will do. Follow along as I read Malachi chapter 3, verse 1 to 5. Malachi chapter 3, verse 1 to 5. Before this day of vengeance came, this is what Yahuwah said will happen. Say, look, I'm sending my messenger, and he will clear up a way for me, before me. And suddenly the Lord whom you are seeking will come to his temple, and the messenger of the covenant will come, in whom you take delight. Say, look, he will come, he will certainly come, says Yahuwah of armies. Say, but who will endure the day of his coming, and who will be able to stand when he appears? For he will be like the fire of a refiner and like the layer of a laundryman. And he will sit as a refiner and cleanser of silver, and will cleanse the sons of Levi, and he will clarify them like gold and like silver, and they will certainly become Yahuwah's people, presenting a gift offering in righteousness. And the gift offering of Judah and of Jerusalem will certainly be pleasing to Yahuwah, as in the days of long ago, as in the days of antiquity. Say, I will come near to you for judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, against the adulterers, against those who take false oaths, against those who defraud the hired workers, the widow, the fatherless child, and against those who refuse to help the foreigner. These have not feared me, says Yahuwah of armies. So he said he's going to, before this day come, he will first send his son, the messenger of the covenant, to clear the way before him. And the son did come, according as he has said he will do, and clear the way. And then he brought the judgment. So, a God will do whatever he said he will do. So, did Yahuwah do what he said he will do? Well, notice that what he has carried out is what he has foretold long ago, even before Israel became a nation, even before Israel became established in the promised land. This is what Yahuwah has foretold through Moses. And join me as I read it in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 32, and I'm going to read verse 35 to 36. And there is written, "Vengeance is mine, and retribution at the appointed time, when their foot slips. For the day of their disaster is near, and what awaits them will come quickly. For Yahuwah will judge his people, and he will feel pity for his servants when he sees that their strength has waned, and that only the helpless and weak remain." So this is what Yahuwah foretold long ago, before even Israel became a nation, or became established as a nation and as a people. To prove to you that Yahuwah will do whatever he said he will do. He said he will take vengeance on his people. For long before even Israel became a nation, Yahuwah foretold that the people of Israel will mess up after Moses died, after Moses' death, that they will abandon him and they will go and serve other gods. God already knew the future of the nation of Israel, and he told them in advance that he will do what? Take vengeance at the appointed time. And at the appointed time, when he came, Yahuwah came and inspected the nation, and he passed the judgment through using his son. Turn with me as I read the book of John, chapter 8. John chapter 8. Let's read verse 26 to 28. John chapter 8, verse 26. "I have many things to speak concerning you, and to pass judgment on. As a matter of fact, the one who sent me is true, and the very things I heard from him I am speaking in the world." They did not grasp that he was talking to them about the Father. Yahushua then said, "After you have lifted up the Son of Man, then you will know that I am he, and that I do nothing of my own initiative, but just as the Father taught me, I speak these things." So Yahushua, when he came to inspect the nation of Israel, told them that, was telling them about this judgment, about the vengeance that God said is going to bring upon the nation of Israel. But they did not understand it. That he was telling them about the judgment of God that was foretold long ago. Then he told them, after you have lifted up the Son of Man, or after they have put the Son of Man to death, then they will know that he's telling the truth, that he came from the Father to pass this judgment. And what happened after the death of the Messiah? This judgment came, for God brought the king of Assyria, the invader, to come and carry out the judgment that has been foretold long ago, proving again that Yahuwah will do whatever he said he will do. Notice the judgment that the Messiah passed on the people of Israel. In the book of Matthew, chapter 23, verse 37 to 39, and there is written, this is the Messiah, Yahushua, declaring the judgment on Israel. He said, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, killer of the prophets and stoner of those sent to her. Say, how often I wanted to gather your children together, the way a hen gathers her chick under her wing, but you did not want it. Said, look, your house is abandoned to you. For I said to you, you will by no means see me from now on until you say, blessed is he, is the one who comes in the name of Yahuwah. So Yahushua pronounced the judgment of God on the nation of Israel. And he said they will not see him again until they say, blessed is the one that came in the name of Yahuwah. And like Yahuwah said in the book of Hosea, when they are in trouble, then they will seek me. So Israel was abandoned by Yahuwah and his son to bear the punishment for their error for 2 days, which is 2,000 years, after which Yahuwah and his son will raise Israel back up. So to show you that Yahuwah will do whatever he said he will do, if he said he's going to punish Israel, and he did punish Israel, you can be guaranteed that after 2 days, or after 2,000 years, Yahuwah will carry out what he said he will do concerning his people, which is to raise the people of Israel back up. And this resurrection of the people of Israel is part of what you are witnessing today. For the true people of Israel are awakening to the realization of who they are. And those who are wise are now seeking their God to return to him. For after 2 days, he will raise back up the people of Israel, is the promise that he has made. But the question is this: is it every people of Israel that will return back to the kingdom of Israel after the 2 days? We'll pay attention to what our God said, his decision, what our God said he will do. So during this time that Israel is being punished, scattered among the nations, bearing punishment for their error, it was also foretold in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 64, that God will scatter the people of Israel among the nations, and there they will serve what? They will be misled to serve gods of wood and stone, gods that even their forefathers do not know. So the people of Israel will be misled into serving these gods, these false gods of the nations. But at the end of the punishment, or the sojourning of the people of Israel among the nation, not everyone will return back to the land of Israel. For it is written in the book of Isaiah chapter 10, verse 21 to 23, it's written, only a remnant will return, the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty God. For though your people, O Israel, are as the grain of the sand of the sea, only a remnant will return. An extermination has been decided on, and justice will engulf them. Yes, the extermination decided on by the sovereign Lord, Yahuwah of armies, will be carried out in the entire land. So notice that the people of Israel will be scattered among the nations, and Israel will multiply even as the sand of the sea. Israel will become many. Even during this time they are being punished. But at the end, only a chosen few will return back to the mighty God. Only a few will return back to Zion to render service, sacred service to Yahuwah. Only the chosen ones will make it back to the promised land. What will Yahuwah do with the rest of the people? Verse 23 says, yes, an extermination decided on by the sovereign Lord Yahuwah of armies will be carried out in all the land. Keep in mind, Yahuwah will do whatever he said he will do. And who are you to question him regarding his sons, the works of his hand? So he said he will put to death the rest of the people of Israel because of the errors of our forefathers, of our ancestors, and because of our own error of abandoning him to go and serve the gods of other nations. An extermination has been decided upon, and justice will engulf the people of Israel. Remember in Isaiah, it tells us that, yes, even though he brought his first invader to come against the people of Israel, and many of them will be put to death, he said even with that, his anger is not yet what? Ended. But the punishment continues. The punishment will continue until all the sinners of Israel are put to death. Join me as I read Amos chapter 9 verse 10. Amos chapter 9 verse 10. And there is written, so they will die by the sword, all the sinners of my people. Those who are saying the calamity will not come near us or reach us. So all the people of Israel, even those who are thinking, oh, it's not going to get to me. No, it's not going to happen. Don't be fooled. For Yahuwah will do whatever he said he will do. If he brought punishment upon the nation and destroyed the nation and put the nation to death, what makes you think that he will not be able to put to death all the sinners of the people of Israel? Yahuwah will do whatever he said he will do. So, at the end, only a remnant will return back to the mighty God, the remnant of Jacob. Again, join me as I read Isaiah chapter 65. Isaiah chapter 65, verse 8. And there is written, 8 to 10. This is what Yahuwah says. Just as when new wine is found in a cluster of grape, and someone says, do not destroy it, for there is something good in it. So I will do for the sake of my servants. I will not destroy them all. I will bring out of Jacob an offspring, and out of Judah the one to inherit my mountain. So my chosen ones will take possession of it, and my servant will reside there. Sharon will become a pasture for sheep, and the valley of Anchor a resting place for cattle, for my people who search for me. So God said he will not destroy all the people of Israel because of their error, but he will choose out of Jacob the ones that will inherit his holy mountain. Yes, he will choose out of Jacob the ones that will inherit his holy mountain. So Sharon will be a pasture for sheep, and the valley of Anchor a resting place for his people who search for him. So God will not put all Israel to death, but he will choose those who are seeking for him, those who are searching for him, in order to bring them back or return them back to the mighty God, to fulfill what is written, that a remnant of Israel will return back to Yahuwah, to Mount Zion, to inherit the promised land, because Yahuwah will not put to death all the people of Israel, but the ones who are searching for him are the ones that he will choose, those that will inherit his mountain. And how many of these people that will return, the remnant of Jacob that will return? The book of Revelation, chapter 7, Revelation chapter 7, verse 3 and 4, and there is written, saying, do not harm the earth or the sea or the trees until after we have sealed the slaves of God, the slaves of our God in their forehead. And I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000 sealed out of every tribe of the sons of Israel. So before God brings the destruction, the final judgment upon the earth, 144,000 will be sealed for salvation out of all the tribes of Israel. So these 144,000 are the remnant of Jacob that will return to the mighty God, that will return back to Israel to serve Yahuwah, the God of Israel. But these are the ones that seek for him, not the ones that have followed the nations and serving other gods, not the ones that have followed the false prophets who are there to mislead people. It is those who have searched for Yahuwah their God in order to return to him are the ones that will, the remnant that will return to inherit Mount Zion. Finally, let's consider Revelation chapter 14, verse 1. Then I saw, and look, the Lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him the 144,000 who have his name and the name of his Father written on their foreheads. So these ones that has the seal of God, those who are marked for survival of the tribe of Israel, 12,000 from each tribe, will return back to Yahuwah, to his holy mountain in Israel. These are the ones that will be saved from the destruction that is coming. For in the final judgment, God said he will not put all Israel to death. The final judgment is death for all Israel and for all other wicked people of the earth. Is death. So 144,000 of Israel will return back to Yahuwah at the end of it all. But the rest of the people, extermination has been decided upon. So regarding you, the people of Israel, Yahuwah will do whatever he chooses to do. And no one is to question him concerning his sons, the works of his hand. For he is dealing with the people of Israel according to the agreement that they entered into, that their ancestors entered into with him. For he told them that if they leave Yahuwah, that the consequence of it is what? Death. But because of his loyal love and faithfulness to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, faithfulness to his promise that he has made, he will rescue 144,000 Israelites to return and serve him in his holy Mount Zion. So if you are an Israelite, and you, the Negroes, and the rest of scattered among the nations, you know who you are. You are the people of God. You should be seeking Yahuwah, your God, in order to receive his mercy, to be among the 144,000 that will survive, that will return to the mighty God at the end. For the rest of the people, an extermination has been decided upon that will be carried out, that you may know that Yahuwah will do whatever he says he will do. Join me next time. We're going to discuss that Yahuwah will do what he's going to do regarding the people of the nations. For they too has a judgment coming for them. So I'll see you next time. If you like this video, click the like button, share it with your friend, subscribe to my channel, make a comment. I want to know what you think. Whether it's good or bad, make a comment. I will now look to respond to your comments. Again, thank you for listening up to this point. Don't forget, Yahuwah will do whatever he said he will do.